I wanted to read the WhatsApp situation so you know how that goes. Every time you're looking for something that you thought you had at your fingertips, it disappears. All right, here goes. It says officials address WhatsApp scam advisory in St. Kitts and Nevis. In response to the questions by the media concerning recent WhatsApp scam advisory, officials from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force shed light on the prevalence and ramifications of these scams. Despite only 3 reports being officially filed with the police, authorities acknowledge that the actual number of victims may be significantly higher, with many unaware that they have been targeted. The police indicated that they first became aware of the scam in early October. However, victims might not recognize their plight if they believe they have sent money to acquaintances without proper verification. Only 3 cases have been officially reported. Police suspect there are more victims who may not realize they have been scammed. This concern extends to individuals who receive requests for funds from compromised accounts, leading them to send money under false pretenses. When questioned whether victims sent funds, authorities confirm some individuals did forward money, believing they were assisting needy friends. As for the investigation's progress, the White Collar Crimes Division is actively tracing the paths of the fraudulently obtained funds. While police can initially track where the money was sent, identifying its final destination is challenging due to the complexity of these scams. Often funds are funneled through third parties who may be unaware of their involvement in the scheme. The police have also been collaborating with international partners to locate the perpetrators. The police said the investigations are intricate as they often involve multiple participants, some unwitting and others complicit. This cooperation is crucial given the transnational nature of many of these scams. Authorities are taking the matter seriously and stressing the importance of public awareness. Recent instances of scammers impersonating legitimate contacts on WhatsApp, including a case involving the chaplain compromised account, underscore the urgent need for vigilance. The police official recounted receiving a similar fraudulent request from a trusted contact who later confirmed they hadn't sent any such message. The Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force encourages residents to exercise caution and verify money requests, especially if they originate from seemingly familiar sources. Oh boy.
I hear you.
But I wouldn't send money.
Okay, I'm over here
I have to.
having a wrestling match with Restream.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't refuses to do what it's supposed to do.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Okay, so
But Jamsta, you know, as I said last week,
sorry about that. What were you talking about? Because
the WhatsApp scamming that's happening.
Yeah.
I can't. No. That person has to call me themselves for me to literally take up my hard-earned dollars and send it for them. But I've seen these things.
How do people fall for that stuff?
I know. I've seen these things on international news where they show you how they actually get a picture of the person's face, and then when you make contact with your friends say, "No, I didn't call you. I don't need that."
If it seems off, it's probably off.
Yeah. Nobody could get me to send no money for them just like that.
But there was another WhatsApp one. Someone sent me a thing last week where they're trying to get you to update. But then if you look at it, you would see
all of those things.
If you look at it, you'd realize Facebook would never send out anything looking so raggedy and it didn't look official at all. And so people, you have to pay attention to detail. Some people aren't gifted like that. They just see WhatsApp. They're not looking at the details that some other people would look for. So when he sent me the thing, I said, but that doesn't even look official.
Exactly.
How could this fool anybody? So yeah, 8:24. I remember I talked about the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. It happened on the weekend. Netflix. Apparently Netflix crashed in some places.
Oh wow.
But it was 6 rounds? 6 rounds or 8 rounds? 2 minutes each. And they said Mike Tyson barely got a punch in.
No, that's what I heard. Initially
I'm
we
really
started
surprised.
watching it, but I guess because of the,
Morning,
listen,
guys.
morning, the prelude to it, it was too long. I fell asleep. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you guys this blessed Monday morning?
Well, I'm trying my best to be my best. I let Jamsta answer for himself.
I'm on the wrestling mat with Restream. Our streaming platform. Yeah.
Kortensia, you are so right with this money thing. I don't know how people just get up and just send money without even confirming that you're speaking to your family member or even someone you know. So I was listening to one where a Jamaican lady, she actually put out a thing after she got scammed.
Mm-hmm.
Because what they do, they call you on your WhatsApp, tell you how they're either updating or they're doing something, and they get you to send back this code, a number, send you a number, tell you, confirm that this is your number. And once you send them back that number, what they do is take over your WhatsApp.
Yeah.
They show you out to your WhatsApp, so you can't get in your WhatsApp anymore because they control it. And then they go and they call all your people on your WhatsApp, contact the people. She said her family members sent over 2,000 US. They ain't called to make sure that I'm talking to my family member. They just send the money.
Yeah,
just like that.
I'm not sending
And
any
this
money
thing
to
is-
anybody.
This thing is real because I think that last year my pastor phone was actually hacked like that. Somebody took over his WhatsApp, started calling church members. Oh, we're having a prayer. Say that they're having prayer meeting and they need this amount of money for building fund. But we ain't giving away no money just like that. We're not stupid, okay?
Exactly.
All right, pastor ain't gonna call nobody and beg them for no money. But people just have to be aware. Don't think. And a new thing, I don't know. I think the thing up here in America, what a lot of them do too, they call you and they would say, are you calling me? So they would say, are you Cleo? And what they want me to say is yes. And once they get your voice that said yes, it's like they automatically confirm you for stuff. You set you up for things that you didn't even buy
Exactly,
or
yeah.
order or anything.
Yeah.
So they use your voice to do a lot of damage. So when I answer my phone, I don't say nothing but no yes.
Yeah.
You're calling me you tell me. You're going to tell me because you calling me. You give me the information you have.
Yeah, exactly.
So people have to be really aware with these stuff. But have a good day, guys.
You too. Thanks for your contribution as usual. But yeah, we ought to be mindful. We can't just be giving away our monies like that. We can't fall for these scams. Don't press the updates. As Jamsa say, make sure it's a legible looking update. Don't just fall for things. People know social media is the way to go these days. We're using our social media constantly, and they're going to try their best to take over our phones, get in our phones, do what they have to do, take our monies, get us to send monies willy-nilly. Folks, question your family. Do not give away your hard-earned monies like that. It makes no sense. Jamster?
Hey. And don't forget, we have a traffic talk coming up in 2 minutes.
Has the rain begun to fall again outside?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay.
Seems fine. Okay. And anything else you wanna talk about quickly before we go to the break?
I touched all the headlines that we had so far. You heard me talk about Miss Nigeria coming first runner-up or second in the show.
No.
And you know she had to deal with a lot of trolling and xenophobic abuse from South Africa,
show?
right?
Which show?
Miss Universe.
Oh, they're like the overall thing.
Yeah, she came.
And the same girl who they
second.
didn't want, boy, man.
Yeah, same girl that South Africa didn't want because they said her mom is from Morocco. She falsified documents to say she was.
But they're fine with the
South
colonizers.
African.
But they're fine with the colonizers
I
who
don't
stole their
understand.
land.
So she went back
Someone need to explain that to me.
and compete in her dad's country. She won. I wish she had won. I wish, but she's contented being second, so I'll be content with her. Denmark won for the first time, and Mexico placed third. So, and it was held
Denmark
in Mexico
won.
again. Yeah,
Okay.
Denmark won. This is the first time. And as I said, Malaysia re-entered Miss Universe after 54 years of not having a contestant in there.
Which country?
Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Yeah.
The first time?
No.
Oh.
They have re-entered after 54 years.
Oh, and
Yeah, remember this is the
Okay.
73rd.
Okay.
Yeah. I like pageants, so I'm into stuff like that. But
Okay.
congratulations to Miss Denmark. She looks like a
Easy,
little Barbie.
Easy likes pageants too.
Of course, pageants are nice. I guess once you get into it, you'll... Good morning, AZ. Hey, Candy.
Hey,
morning.
I'm never gonna say no to seeing ladies in bikinis, eh? So let's get that straight.
That's not the only part of the pageant.
Right,
The
that's the
pageant
best
is
part.
comprised of
That's the
many,
best part.
many of things.
The best
Because I
part.
love to see
I like smart ladies
I
too.
love to see the costumes of all the countries around the world. Because you know that's a segment in Miss Universe as well. Man, those costumes are nice.
Why don't they do bikini national costumes? That'd be nice.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
But they have the bikini costume already.
Hey.
Jam, so let's take the break and come back with traffic talk, please.
Yeah. Long live bikinis. And the ladies in them.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Be careful on the road. Don't make it an episode.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Be careful on the road. Don't make it an episode. Attention all drivers. I'm begging you to slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, down. Too many stunt drivers on the road, man.
8:32 and it's time for Traffic Talk. Brought to you by Caribbean Alliance Insurance. And we got Officer Sophia Henry seated. Morning.
Good morning, Jamsta.
How was your weekend?
Good morning, officer.
How was my weekend? It was quiet.
Okay.
How was
quiet.
yours?
Quiet.
That's good. Kortensia, how was
I'm
yours?
following you.
It was busy. Not fussy, not too noisy, but it was busy. Yeah. Yeah.
At least you have life.
I mean, I had to work, but
Yeah,
still.
man. Yeah, we all had to. Oh my gosh, workaholics we are. Geesh.
Yes, this morning I'll be talking about roundabouts.
Oh boy.
And a roundabout is a circular intersection design where traffic travels at low speed around a central island, and entering traffic must yield to circulating traffic. Roundabouts are safer and more efficient than traditional intersections, as we think, as it's supposed to be, as it should be. Roundabouts should be safer. But sometimes we get some accidents because a person tend to go how they think it should be done. Roundabout manage the traffic flow at intersection. They move traffic in one direction around a central island. Vehicle can turn left or right, go straight ahead, or make a full turn. That's a U-turn. When you approach a roundabout, you must slow down to stop, to give way to all vehicles already in the roundabout. And we know that you give way to traffic on your right when you're proceeding into a roundabout. And as long as vehicles are already in there, you let them pass before you enter, even if you have the right of way. So as long as something is in there and they're coming around, you wait until they pass, and then you make sure that nothing is coming from the right before you proceed. Use your signals so other drivers understand your intention, as Jamsta always say. He does. When you enter a roundabout, and if you're going to take the first exit, he'll put on his indicator for person to know his intention. If you plan to take the first available exit, use your right turn signal as you enter and keep it on until you exit. If you intend to travel past the first exit, use your left turn signal to show that you won't be using the first exit. So for instance, you're traveling up Wellington Road. You're approaching the airport roundabout. You know, you have 3 exits that you can come off from your left. You have the first one, which is the highway, the F.T. Williams Highway. That will take you over to Gillard's. Then you have the second one, which take you into the airport. And then the third one will take you to Connery, because you're going straight. So you're taking 2 left and then you're going straight. So that's the first one. So you use your signal when you come into the roundabout. You know you're not going to take the left, the first one, so you put on your indicator to let them know that you're continuing. Then you put on the other, you put it on again if you're going into the airport. If not, then you just continue straight.
To Connery.
Yes. The biggest tool to understand a roundabout is the sign on approach. Look at the signs. I know many persons are going to say, okay, we don't have signs up. But we are trying our best. We are trying to put the arrows in. For now, the one from F.T. Williams, that's by Shadwell Roundabout, all the way to the airport roundabout, you won't see no sign because they are resurfacing that road. And they reach as far as the Cayenne Jet. So from the Cayenne Jet up to the airport roundabout, there's where they're going to continue and then stop there.
Okay.
So after the road is complete, we'll put back the signs, we'll put back the markings. So callers, drivers, please try to hear still. You know, when you're taking a roundabout, you stay on your left if you're going left or straight. If you're going right, you go in the inner one, which is the right lane, for you to go right, or you're going to make a U-turn. Roundabout work very similar to a clock. When entering a roundabout, you approach from 6 o'clock position. You will enter the roundabout from the left to go clockwise. So you come up, that's 6 o'clock. You're going to take 9 and 12. That's on left. The right, you will take 3 and 6. Taking the first exit, if you're taking the first exit on a roundabout, your vehicle should be positioned on the left, as I just said, on the road of the left-hand lane. If there are 2 lanes, as we know we have 2 lanes, the first exit is your 9 o'clock on the clock. Keep your left indicator on until you have reached your exit. Taking the second exit, if you are taking the second exit, we're coming again from Needmos, so you're going, from Needmos, you're going F.T. Williams, that's the first exit. The second exit is the airport. If you are taking the second exit, you are simply following the road ahead. Again, position your car on the left-hand side or keep to the left-hand lane. If there are 2 lanes, road marking or signs will guide you to keep on. And I said, we have the arrows to show you. I know some people say the arrows are fading, but we are working to put them back in. So just give us some time. Yes, we are working on the crossing, and we're going to be working on the signs for the roundabouts. Jamsta, any call?
No, not at the moment. But I do have some questions.
Yes, Jamsta.
Someone sent them by text. Okay, so first question. Let me see. Trying to find it here. Okay, so he says, Ask the officer why is it that the sidewalk in front of the old Treasury building is blocked off and forcing pedestrians to walk in the road. Why wasn't the contractor made to erect a tunnel that will protect pedestrians from falling debris and keep them out of the road? The works have stopped for some time now, and pedestrians are still forced to walk unsafely in the street.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because even to cross is like you holding on, you hugging that
The
board, yeah. And people aren't drivers aren't being mindful that that's where you have to stand. That's why I try my best not to wait on the post office, and then I squeeze through the cars if I have to. Yeah, I'm not going on the road anymore. They drive too close to you.
Jamsta, that's a good question, but I won't be able to answer that because I don't know why the work ceased and why the board is not down.
Okay. But doesn't the traffic department have any kind of power to, let's say, compel public works or whoever
It's not
to...
public, but remember that it's sustainable. Sustainable have to deal with that because that's building.
Yeah, but can't you guys, even make a suggestion that in the interest of safety?
Well, we talk about it, so I don't know. Remember that is out of traffic hand. That's sustainable when it comes to buildings.
Yeah, but it seems odd to me that we don't have a system where, it's in sustainable hands, but shouldn't the police have some kind of
Say, exactly.
say as far as the safety aspect goes?
So that's why the boards are put up. Yes, I know we're talking about the
Yeah.
pedestrian, but if the board were not up and they're working and something fell on someone, that's a liable sue. And remember the insurance. So when you're doing things like that, you have to take in consideration with insurance. So those things have to happen when things like that is being done.
Okay, so sustainable development, can you please build a tunnel, take the board out of the road? It hampers us. I'm a pedestrian. We have other pedestrians. Sometimes I'm holding on the board for their life. The drivers aren't, some drivers, let me say some, aren't forgiven. They scoot close to you. Sometimes you wonder, don't they see my feet right there? And you are literally on the board trying to not get hit or something.
And remember how the building is, it is over the sidewall. If you remember how the veranda is.
Okay,
Yes,
we have a
yes.
call, but let me just read you. He says, I disagree, it's out of traffic hands because pedestrian safety is a traffic issue. Caller, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Jamsta. Good morning,
Good morning.
Kortensia. Good morning.
Morning.
Sergeant.
Inspector now.
Thank you.
You should deserve it.
Yeah, man.
Now, yesterday I was listening to a Jamaica radio station, and they were celebrating the World Memorial Day for persons killed in road accident. Are you aware of that?
No.
Yeah, they had a big thing, and they were talking about the thousands who have died on the road, you know? And I say in secret we need to, because I heard, I think it's during last week, somebody was killed over in Keys on the road.
Yes.
So look it up, because we need a memorial, because we just brush it aside, you know? So they are talking about the traffic, the effects, how to prevent it. I know you try your best. So look it up. It is World Memorial Day for persons killed in road accidents. All right, then.
I will, Mrs. Henry.
Thank you.
Yeah, and someone else says the police are in charge of security on the chat. So you're alone on this one.
Yeah, but we're still looking for persons, safety on the road, but still persons who are passing. Because, as I said, if they're working on something fall,
But the fact that the work seemed to have ceased for now.
I don't know.
No, I'm not saying you. Seem to have ceased for now. They should make it, they should see that it's a struggle.
But I can inquire about it.
Yep.
And
Sustainable development, if you're listening. Caller, go ahead. You're live in Island T. Good morning.
Good morning, peace to St. Nevis. I must say, when they did it first, you could have walked under and you had an exit, and sometime after they seal the whole thing off. But Jamsta, I think you're a well-traveled guy. You ever been to New York and still have the same thing? And you
but you can walk through and
on top.
yeah,
Really protect anything fall, they don't hit in person, and persons have the access to the sidewalk.
yeah.
So that is where I think the safety and the concern of persons should come into being, because remember you have pedestrian traffic and the vehicular traffic. And if the vehicular traffic can put the pedestrian traffic at risk because of something that is actually obstructing their path, then something should actually be taken into consideration to get it solved expeditiously, because this has been going on for a while. So how long it should be going on for? At the same time you're doing it, you could have a blind person, you could have somebody in a wheelchair, because remember, if you have a wheelchair, you're in a wider position, because the wheelchair is wider than the human body. And therefore you're more in the road. And there are some drivers, as the traffic, the sergeant will say, you have to, even when you're driving, you have to drive for other drivers. Same way, the pedestrian have to walk or stand because of drivers, because some drivers, we know how some persons behave when they're on the road. Mm-hmm. So those are things I think, I hope the persons who are listening, but if my memory serves me right, when it comes to anything with traffic, the traffic authority should take precedent to tell this. Because if I just stand in the road, bet you the police is going to tell me, come and take it up because it's obstructing something. So if something is obstructing like that, not because it's a government entity, and that is where I think which the officer, this is out to the sergeant hand, this now come to the commissioner of police, and he's the person in charge of that, should really get something serious written to let them know, hey, you're obstructing the pedestrian traffic, and therefore this has to be rectified. Because we do not want to wait until someone gets hurt or even die to say, oh, if we had known. If we had known means something already happened. So that's just my contribution today, to help the sergeant there to get her superiors to get involved, and the person that's sustainable to recognize the longer it's there, the likelihood of something to happen gets more. Because plus Christmas coming up, and the traffic getting heavier. Yeah. So that's my contribution. God bless you. God bless St. Nevis. God bless St. Nevis. Peace to all.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you for your contribution, Colin.
He makes a good point, because with Carnival coming in, could you imagine you have a trailer, during jamming, and so I could see that could pose a problem. Because then you kind of have a somewhat of a choke point there, with all these people thronging behind the trailer. I could see. I feel like there really should be the option to walk through a tunnel there. And granted, I take the point that someone has to put up the stuff, and their safety has to be considered as well. But the point is, it was put up, and I really feel like the people responsible should step up and do what they need to do. So we don't have any unfortunate accidents during Carnival. Caller, go right ahead. 847.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
I just tuned in, and I'm presuming that you're speaking about the old Treasury building.
Yes, please.
Okay. Let me give a general overview. The old Treasury building is the property of the state of St. Christopher and Nevis. The state-owned property. The building has been vested to the St. Christopher National Trust, which uses it primarily as a museum and also for its research and documentation offices and administrative center. Over the years, the building has, over different periods of time, been out of use because of its condition, and in use primarily because the predecessor of the St. Christopher National Trust, which was the St. Christopher Heritage Society, sought primarily private funding. Businesses in St. Kitts funded its rehabilitation because it was pretty much abandoned by the state. The dome, for example, at the top, which is topped by a cupola, that glass portion with a lamp in it, its rehabilitation was funded by the government of Germany. And so the St. Christopher National Trust continued to maintain the property. However, It got to the stage where it became dangerous. Masonry was falling from the building. And Christopher National Trust reached out to the owners of the building, the state, and said, this building needs fixing. When we first tried to put up barriers around the building, in the form that the gentleman described earlier, when you go to New York, and there's an extended, you could call it an extended structure beneath it to catch things that are falling from the building. The powers that be said they could not afford such a structure. That would have been the ideal situation because it would have continued to preserve access for the pedestrians of the access to the sidewalk. And so therefore, what was erected was what was within the budget and what was within the begging capacity of the St. Christopher National Trust. The time came when the Christopher National, the building is over 125 years old. The nature of the building when it was erected in the late 1800s was such that it is made of stone and lime mortar. Not the modern Portland cement that we use, but lime, which is a natural material. Over the years, with the change of climate, with the increased traffic in Bass there, and just with time, that lime mortar has now become very fragile, very brittle. And so the process that is being undertaken at this time is literally to remove every square centimeter, every square inch of lime mortar that holds those stones together and replace them by lime mortar again. If we use Portland cement, it has been learned over the years that the reaction between natural stone and artificial Portland cement works more to deteriorate the stone and is not as perfect a sealant as the original lime mortar. The Christopher National Trust engaged a company in Trinidad who specializes in the preservation of old structures. If you go to Trinidad, you can see a number of buildings there that they have done. As a matter of fact, one of the buildings that they are restoring, it's a 3-story building, and they've erected an entire temporary roof over the building so that they can work safely under the building. No more rain can fall on it, etc. As a result of the absence of funding, let me repeat, as a result of the absence of funding, no further work has gone on that building for a number of months now. The mix of funding, there were challenges involving the contractor, and it is the guarantee of future funding that has stopped the work where it is. The building belongs to the state. This individual, who's speaking at this time, has on a number of occasions come on the radio and appealed not to the police department, they're not responsible, but to the public works department and said, look, you needed to make access of the roads safer for pedestrians. Start by moving the location of the button for the traffic lights. Make some form of change, move the pedestrian crossing markers, etc. That's not the police's responsibility. That is the public works department's responsibility. What we need is cooperation between all of the entities, police, public works department, the Ministry of Sustainable Development, under whose mantle the St. Christopher National Trust comes to do so. So when those boards were now erected on the roadway and no longer on the sidewalk, it was to protect the workers in the building and to protect pedestrians and motorists. I will recall when one Sunday morning I received a call from a taxi driver who said that he had just seen a lump of concrete fall from the building and drop into the road. Luckily, it was a Sunday morning. There was little traffic about, few pedestrians about. When I visited the location 10 minutes later, there was a piece of masonry larger than a human head on the roadway. Had that hit a motor vehicle, it would have crashed straight through the windshield. Had it hit a human, they most certainly would have died. The precautions placed there are the efforts of the St. Christopher National Trust to protect the motoring and walking public. The larger entity, the state, needs to bring its resources together to ensure that motorists and pedestrians can safely navigate that juncture in the time that this work is going on. How it will be done? I'm not an engineer. I'm not clever enough. But like the guys sitting in the stands at the cricket or football game, though I may not have the capacity to bowl or to bat anywhere near as well as the people on the pitch, I have the capacity to realize when they're making mistakes and say, hey, bowl the ball better. I can't tell you how to do it, but bowl the ball better. Hit the ball better. I can't tell you how to do it because that's not my field. But I could observe when something needs to be done and appeal to those who do have the capacity, who do have the training, who do have the resources to do something about it. Because ultimately, if anyone is injured, the state is the owner of the building, not the St. Christopher National Trust. And so therefore, I use this opportunity once again to make the same appeal. But at the same time, because everyone are always pointing fingers at the police unfairly, to say to the police, hey, reach out yourselves to the necessary people and say, look, help us to do something about this matter. The police cannot, if the police simply went there and removed one of the lanes, yes, it will make things safer, but it will add to the congestion of traffic in that part of Bass there. Are we going to close around make that area inaccessible? No, we won't. But we have appealed to things such as, going back in the past, ask the Carnival Committee to divert the bands during Carnival away from the building. Because every time one of those trucks go by, if you are in the building, you can see dust and you can see grouting falling off the building. If you go into that building right now, it is covered in cement caused by the vibrations towards the building. So beyond that, we're talking about culture, carnival, etc. They can help as well in the preservation of this building. Unfortunately, not everyone sees things this way. Because at a meeting, when matters to do with the building were being addressed, someone in a position of influence around the table asked the question, why are we bothering with this old building? Why don't we just pull it down? That, unfortunately, is the attitude that pervades in some quarters. It's old, and I guess just like how we treat some of our senior citizens, just put them away. We can't afford them anymore. But at the same time, we boast about our culture. We boast about our heritage. This building used to be the gateway to St. Kitts. When you came through those arches, the pier lined up clearly. You walk off the pier and walk straight through the arches, and there was the Buckley Memorial ahead of you. It served as the administration building for St. Kitts and Nevis in Anguilla. It served as different government departments over the years. Unfortunately, at this time, to many, it is simply serving as an eyesore in downtown Bass there. And one could understand and sympathize with their thinking. But unless the funding comes forward to resume the work and expedite its completion, what we have there shall continue. I apologize for taking up all of this time, but I thought it was necessary to explain what is going on. Don't blame the police. The police are just one member of the larger story of what is happening at the old Treasury building.
Okay, caller, we have to leave it here. It's we got 1 minute. We have a segment coming up next.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, great. Sophie, give you the last word. You have 90 seconds.
Not stop or change lanes on the roundabout, as this can cause confusion and accidents. If you miss your exit, don't panic. Continue around the roundabout until you reach your desired exit again.
Yep.
So do not change lane once you're in the roundabout. Go around and then you pick up the desired one that you want to exit.
Yep.
If you do that, that's why we have accidents in roundabouts. Just want to thank the callers for calling in. And the last caller, thank you so much for your call. And I appreciate your call. Thank you.
It isn't just the police alone. It takes a multitude to sort stuff out down there. But just let us be careful, pedestrians. Let us be mindful. If we want to cross somewhere else, I'm not telling you to do it, but I try to do it. I'll hop between the cars. I'll stay on the sidewalk at the post office because I don't want to be a fatality. So we just have to pay attention and don't just look on one way when you're crossing. Please look on both sides. Keep your head shifting back and forth.
As your parents used to tell you, look left,
look right,
and then right,
and look right again, left again. Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to do it. Sophie, have a great week. That's going to do it for Traffic Talk for today. Brought to you by Caribbean Alliance Insurance. We've got Sarah Owen from the Bougainvillea Books and Gifts. She's coming up next.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Found the sound. 98.9 FM.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Three minutes after 9 o'clock, Island Tea continues. And this next segment is all about the Bougainvillea Book Club and the Bougainvillea Books and Gifts. And we've got the owner and principal here, Sarah Owen, to tell us all about it. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on air this morning. I was listening in the car, and it always feels surreal and exciting when I make my shift from listening to actually being on the radio. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here and to share with you all some of the wonderful things that are happening at Bougainvillea Books and Gifts, which is now a year and a few months old. So it's a brand new
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so we're making it. We're still open.
Okay.
And I came on last year for Read Caribbean Month on Island Tea. Last June, that's every June, it's celebrated as Read Caribbean Month based on the work of a bookstagrammer on Instagram from a Jamaican who lives in Trinidad, and her Instagram handle is Book of Sins. So we are very much in line with that movement because our bookstore is decidedly and deliberately niche independent. It is a Caribbean bookstore, and it's also a Caribbean artisan gift store. So everything within the store is made, or the stories told are all connected to St. Kitts and Nevis and the wider region. Yeah.
Good stuff. So the name of the store, how did it get that name? I know the flower is synonymous with the island, but how did it get that?
Well, that's an interesting question, and I was just speaking with Keisha Isaac Adams on the weekend about that because there was a wonderful storytelling event at Shadwell Great House, GRIO, put on by the Department of Culture and Creative Economy, I believe. And she was responsible for the Anansi stories. And that was actually when I first conceptualized this bookstore many moons ago. I mean, long time ago. I thought of Anansi as a name for the story. But, you know, Anansi is wise, but y'all can tell me what else he is, right? He's a little bit of a trickster, right? So I don't know, like, if people are going to be like, Anansi, you know, she going to trick me into something. Or, But then also it's such a big responsibility, I think, if you take on a name like that, because you have to honor it in a way that is appropriate. And as I continue to think about names and so on, I came upon this quote, which I at first attributed to Peter Minshall, because I first heard it in an interview with him. And Sasha, the artist, did a mural for us in the store with that quote. And she is the one who assisted me in making sure that I was correct in attributing the quote. And it's actually a poet, Lorca from Spain, like 18th century Spanish poet. And he says something along the lines of the book, the poem, the painting are but water drawn from the well of the people, and it must be returned to them in a cup of beauty, so that they may drink and in so doing understand themselves. And that was how Minshall answered the question, what does art mean to you? And that to me was very powerful. So then I look at a flower like Bougainvillea. I'm very partial to bright colors like fuchsia and purple and pink and I just love the way that it naturally erupts everywhere. And to me, that resonated with that quote, that idea that water drawn from the well of the people must be returned in a cup of beauty. And I wanted to create a space, a Caribbean space of creativity that showcased how beautiful we are and how beautiful what we create can be. So that is where the name came from.
Nice. I like that.
And so tell us a little bit about the bookstore's offerings.
Right. So we offer a wide variety of genres. So we have collections of poetry, we have short stories, we have autobiographies. So we have fiction, nonfiction. We also have quite a lot of children's books as well. So that is popular for people who are looking for gifts. So some of the children's books, for example, we have a storybook that has an activity book that goes with it. We have a couple of those. And we have a coloring book of St. Kitts by Joan Malalou. That's a really good book because I've given it to visiting relatives, for example, you know, their children 6 and 7, and they're so excited because they like the flag. Now they get to color it and they get to learn more about what the different colors mean. And then there's a word search. And as they go around the island, they can find different things. And so a lot of things like that we have as well. We also have journals and we have cookbooks from all over the Caribbean as well, which include Caribbean vegan, Caribbean paleo, if I'm saying that right. So there are a lot of specialty books, Caribbean baking, all kinds of things. So we have, and we're just introducing, we have done a little bit of it, but my line of thinking also is that, you know, when you're giving gifts, sometimes, because we are a gift store, sometimes you'll give like a box of chocolates, right? So But we also have lovely Caribbean candies and confectionery and so on. So we'll be including sugar cakes, tamarind balls, fudge, and then
nice.
if you want, you can have like a gift basket of beautiful Caribbean sweets.
Yeah.
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 And you'd stick a cookbook
Sugar
in the
cake.
back. We put together something really nice.
Oh, so you make a whole gift basket for somebody to give
We can
as a present
if people want.
Oh,
We
okay.
also we handle requests as they come. So
Okay.
we also do now customized greeting cards because someone came to us once and asked, "Can you do that?" And we're like, "Well, yes, we can." And so if you have a birthday coming up for a loved one, and you share with us the information, name, maybe an image if you'd like us to include, we can design and we can print and prepare that card. And we sell those with the custom work and everything for $15 EC. People like that because then they can do something very special for a loved one. So we do that type of thing as well, because what we really want to do again is draw on that concept of
Yes.
giving that is beautiful and meaningful. And reading Caribbean literature, I think is extremely important. I studied literature at the UWI in undergrad and also at the master's level, and then I did a doctorate in education, all at UWI. So I thought that there's so much that I get that is wonderful from that experience, and so much I received, I should say, from that experience. A lot of what I read, a lot of the types of conversations I was able to engage in. And I wanted to do my own little part, perhaps, in democratizing access to that. And this is my attempt at so doing. So I've jumped, completely into entrepreneurship. And we have a book club, as Jamsta mentioned at the top of the program. We have a book club called Island Bookie at Bougainvillea. And I just want to commend all of these young people in particular on social media who are making reading and reading Caribbean really cool. So, there's like I don't know if subculture is the right word, but there's within Instagram, you have Bookstagram, within TikTok, you have Book Talk. And so there's a lot out there that people are sharing, that people are reading, that people are engaging with. And we've sort of bridged that in a way in that Ramona Frederick is Vincentian who lives in St. Kitts, and she has a Bookstagram account called Island Bookie. And we've joined with her, so we have Island Bookie at Bougainvillea, which is a physical in-person book club, and we meet every quarter, but our membership is growing. We have about 35 in total and 20 gathered at any given moment of our meeting, and we meet under the banyan trees at Shadwell Great House. I would say kind of nestled within the banyan trees. So it's a real moment,
Chronicle a typical book club sitting.
I was going to ask. We're on the same
Sure, and just to start that off, I just want to share that once my sons, they come and they help me out at the shop, especially when we have events and so on. And one of them, I'd ask him to go and check, because we also do refreshments around the theme. So when I start chronicling in sequence, I'll tell you how that goes. But they came to me and they said, real excitement up there. He said, I didn't know that people could get so excited about a book. And then he started to tell me, apparently this one did this and it was really bad. They shouldn't have done it. So, he was just, surprised at how excited. So that's just to give a little snippet of how the atmosphere can be. So people come ready to talk about these characters that they either love or loathe or whatever the case may be. So we tell the members, and we advertise it on social media and the shop as well, what the book is about 3 months in advance, so that people have time enough to read. We sell the books, but we're not, if you had the book from somewhere else, it's okay. Of course, we'd love you to buy the book from us, but also if you prefer to read electronically and you have the book on Kindle or, that's also fine. But most of our readers tend to prefer hard copy, but there are some that read electronically as well. So you have 3 months to read the book. And it's interesting, people's different practices, because some people wait until, just before, because they want to remember everything. Some people read it twice because they want to have a first reading and a second reading before they come to book club. And the book club is from 3 to 5 in the afternoon. As I said, we like to set the tone for the book club by, for example, we had in September, we did a State of Independence by Carol Phillips because it was September 16th. So, of course, we wanted to do a local author, but also that book was published in 1986, very topical for the moment. So we had bag drinks, and we had, they drink a fair amount of Carib in the book, so we had some Carib too.
Carol Phillips is Kittian.
Yes,
Yeah.
And then we also had things like saltfish fritters, those types of things. We have
Okay,
conkeys,
local.
things that are very local.
Yeah.
We had another, in June we met and we read The Vanishing Girls, which is historical fiction, crime-based, by a Barbadian author, Callie Browning, still on the Phillips, Callie Browning. And that was very exciting because Ramona and I teamed up on a little secret mission. So the book itself is all about suspense and, detective type work. And we reached out because Ramona knows the author well enough, and I'd met her through Ramona virtually, but her identity is completely secret.
Oh.
So nobody knew who she really was or what she looked like or anything like that. And she agreed to come and have her first in-person private encounter in a book sitting with us under the banyan trees at Shadwell. So we flew her in, and our book club members did not know. And of course, we went to the airport. I don't know what she looks like. It was all, and it's all very cloak and dagger. We had to, and so we told them that we would connect virtually. And then Ramona said, well, we're really sorry, but the technology didn't work, and everybody looked a little bummed. And then I walked in and I said, and before I even I had a really good joke, like a little one-liner that I'd prepared and practiced, and I was so excited to deliver it. And I didn't even get the chance because as soon as I said, everybody said, oh my God, is that her? Is that her? And it was just a wonderful moment. So that is the book club.
What were the refreshments like for that one, since it was suspenseful?
Right.
And
well, actually both the September and June book clubs were set in the 80s.
Okay.
So I borrowed an 80s cooler from my aunt, so the kind of cooler that you'd have in the 1980s, and it has like an opener tied on with a string, and I found some Banks beer because they drink a lot of beer in that one also. There are a lot of scenes where they're drinking Banks beer. So we had that, and then we had Shirley biscuits because there's a lot in the book about eating Banks beer and
drinking Banks beer
and eating crushed Shirley biscuits. So we had Shirley biscuits, and then we had some saltfish fritters and so on as well. So
nice.
Yeah.
How does one become a member of these book clubs?
Right. So if you follow us on Instagram at Bougainvillea Books and Gifts, or Facebook, we share the flyers and the links there. Also, when people visit the store, sometimes they'll sign up there. But if you're hearing about it now, for example, our next meeting is on Saturday at 3:00. And you're a fast reader, you can come up to this shop, you can get the book, or you can buy the book, you can come, and then we can do the registration on the spot. But generally, it gives us a sense of who to cater for, how many people I should say to cater for, how to set up the space, that type of thing. So you can register by calling. Our number is 664-2224, which is 664 BBAG, so 664-2224. And you can also call, and we can put your name down. We can WhatsApp you the registration link, the information. And once you're in our database, we have a newsletter for the book club that goes out with reminders and that type of thing as well.
For those persons who are not sure where you're located, can you let them know where you're located?
We are at Shadwell Great House, which is because sometimes we say Shadwell and people think the lower part of Shadwell by Greenlands, or in the upper part, like by New Road, Monkey Hill side. So if you turn right at the roundabout, that would take you into St. Peter's, the TVC roundabout. You take your first left and you follow the road. You'll see some big black iron gates, and you just drive right in there. So that's where we are, and we're open on from Tuesdays to Saturdays. 10 to 5 Tuesday to Friday, and 10 to 4 on Saturdays. Yeah, and you can come by and we sell local ice cream, which we can't stock quickly enough. iQueen's milk-free ice cream is a big hit. And we only sell the local flavors, so we have soursop, tamarind, guava, coconut. So a lot of people stop in for an ice cream. We also have a little complimentary self-service tea and coffee area. So if you want, because we also recognize that life can get pretty stressful for people sometimes. So to have a space, and it's very tranquil up there at Shadwell Great House, so to have a space to just pause for 15 minutes, we have some of the books that we've put are the same little serving area with the tea and the coffee, where you can just sit, pick up a book, maybe spend 10 minutes, have a cup of tea, hopefully shop with us.
Yes,
and then
please do.
And then go away. And on that note, I have something for you, tea drinkers here at Island
Sugar cake?
Tea.
No.
Next time. I see somebody has a sweet tooth, but this has no sugar. So we had a really wonderful moment with Blissfully Balanced Tea Company by Davina Batiste.
Yeah.
And she came to the shop with an idea of a tea that would be really geared towards our Bougainvillea community. And that's really our main goal of the business, is to develop community around all things beautifully creative. And I just want to read to you what she wrote on the back of this delightful tea that she has curated. And when you try it, you can let me know if you think, but I know you're going to think it's as wonderful as we think it is. So she wrote, discover tranquility with sweet serenity, is what she's called it, an exclusive blend from Blissfully Balanced Tea Company created for Bougainvillea Books and Gifts. This soothing infusion brings together the refreshing coolness of peppermint, the floral elegance of rose petals, the calming touch of lavender, and the subtle tartness of hibiscus. And hibiscus here, I think, is sorrel, so that's usually the hibiscus that's in a lot of these things. Each sip is a gentle escape, offering a perfect balance of flavors that calm the mind and lift the spirit. Ideal for unwinding with a good book or simply savoring a peaceful moment, Sweet Serenity is your companion for serene relaxation. Brew a cup, inhale the fragrant aroma, and let the delicate harmony of this enchanting tea envelop you in sweet serenity. So this is for you.
Thank you.
And the team here, in the hope that you love it as much as we do. How can you not?
It sounds like that person needs to be writing books too.
Yeah, she is one of the. In fact, this bag that I have here, she also designed and made this, and she is the consummate creative in my view.
Are her items sold at your establishment as well?
She does not make bags anymore, unfortunately. So that's a classic piece that I have there. But I'm hoping that one day she will. But we have Sassy V Collectibles. So we have her beautiful pieces up there. We also have candles. We have jewelry, and some of the jewelry, the artisans, if you have a particular color that you like, or a lot of the pieces are one of a kind, but you can have something custom made.
Well, thanks for answering that was going to be my next question, to delve more into the gifts side, because it's called Bougainvillea Books and Gifts, right?
And
anything else?
Question right here for
but
Sarah.
they get their own books, get their own.
But we do. You're right. They do have their own thing, which is why even in the name of the business, they are isolated from other. And I thought about that too, because in naming it, I was like, well, books are gifts too. But I really did want it to be very clear that we are a bookstore as well.
Exactly.
And we have a lovely. So what we did at Shadwell Great House, and special thanks to Mrs. Agnes Skerritt and her family for allowing us to enter into agreement that allowed that. We renovated a cottage on the property. So we have a beautiful mural outside that was done by Daniela Bataya, Colombian artist who was residing here in St. Kitts up until recently. She's done murals all over Bastille, and she's extremely talented. She did the murals.
Oh, the Colombian.
Yes.
I know
the murals are. So actually, it's the murals that we used. Well,
on the front of the tea.
On the packaging for the tea.
Okay.
It comes from the mural with her permission.
Okay.
So yes, so we have art, really lovely art that is done by people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We just recently received some driftwood pieces. I mean, I love things that have story to it. So it connects again to the books. But this idea that this driftwood, I mean, it could have come from anywhere. If the sargassum comes from, the coast of Africa, then maybe some of this wood came from there too. Who knows? Because it's weathered, it's old. Yeah. But he polishes it to perfection. So it almost regains its, I don't know what the original color and so on would have been, but it's no longer white and dry and looking a bit weather beaten, but totally beautiful. And then they're mounted on solid wooden frames. Some of them are turned into lamps. And we have paintings, original paintings, we have prints, we have a wide variety of things, and we price all of what we sell, we price in EC, and we try really hard to keep the price manageable, because we're not really fulfilling our purpose if the price is so high that it's outside of the purchasing power of many people locally in St. Kitts and Nevis. So we need volume sales, so hopefully listeners are listening and they're going to come up.
I have an idea for you that maybe we should. It's something I've always said. I feel like if the government can have computers duty free for it's been like 30 years now.
Yeah.
I feel like books should be duty free. Yeah. To encourage people to read, And I feel like it's something.
And
that
to encourage the longevity of books, because with persons not reading now, especially books, as
Exactly.
Sarah would have mentioned, we have the Kindle, we have the the tablets, iPads. People are hardly opening a physical book now.
I'm thinking that might be their pushback. Well, people have Kindles, so but. I mean, you just spoke about the cost, which is why I said, I said what I said. I mean, I know, for example, Dr. Simmons had a book, and it's like $75. Now, if you remove the duty, someone like you could do a lot better, because you might even be able to add magazines, periodicals, and stuff, which we don't really get in St. Kitts anymore.
Yeah, everything's online.
Yeah, the cost of importing books, I mean, it's not as high as other items, but there is still a cost attached to that. And we also, I have been fortunate because there is a bookstore in Trinidad called Paper Based that does a lot of the same type of work that I am trying to do. And I was able to speak to the manager there, and she gave me some good ideas in terms of how I can reach out to the publishers to help with those because again, we try really not to, because we understand that not everybody can afford to buy, because some people read quickly, so they might read in a week, so but if the average book cost is like $50 EC, then that might be prohibitive for some, which is also why we have the basket of books, so that you can come and you can read, and our book club picks are in there as well, so if you want to come and you read from our basket, you can do that. So that
sort of like when you go to Barnes and Noble, and you could sit down and read and maybe have
but I
some
think
coffee.
when you go to Barnes and Noble, you're supposed to buy the book. You can't sit down and read the book if you haven't bought it. So that is not permitted.
They actually used to have like copies that you say, you can read a chapter or two, and
chapter or two, not
but
the whole thing.
Some people do. I went to a bookstore in England, and I had to step over a young lady who was sitting in the corner of the shelves reading, But I also feel that there are a lot of people who read vociferously. I mean, really read. And to me, growing up, so this is totally anecdotal, but you always have your readers and your non-readers type of thing. So you still have a lot of people, and there's a sharing element that comes with the physical book. I read on both. But I prefer to read a physical copy, because I can also share it. Like when I finish reading it,
pass it
to my mother. I find with a Kindle, I have to tell her, this book is really good. Maybe you should get it.
There's a certain frisson to the tactile nature of a book.
The smell and
and you can always turn back the page.
Exactly.
The feeling of turning back the page or bending the page. You can't bend any page in a Kindle. I like the actual book.
Well, you can do all those little virtual things that they
but I want to do the real thing.
Sense,
bend the page.
Especially those old books. I have this thing about, like, I remember when I used to go to boys' school, then we used to borrow books from the library. The books had there's this smell that I associate with books, which is a very feel-good kind of smell for me.
Somebody said that, I want to come and sit in your bookshop when I come to St. Kitts, because I want to smell that bookshop smell. And I was like, she's going to be disappointed, because the shop smells a little more like candles than it. But it's a good smell, but it's not that library smell that you were talking about. But we also I also came with, because I'm cognizant of time and I don't want to forget, to just share with you for your listeners. I'm such a bookish person. For your listeners, not your readers, and I will leave these with you, so that on Island Tea you can determine how you might want to gift these to your listeners.
Okay.
But we have a copy of The Masquerade Dance by Carol Otley Mitchell, illustrated by Daniel J. O'Brien. And
that's nice.
Yes, the illustrations are fantastic.
Wow.
And the little boy's name in this book is Saulo. And there's a little Saulo in St. Kitts who really inspired this book. So it's a book very closely connected to home.
Spell that word, Saulo?
Saulo, I think.
Oh,
I'll have to look it up.
Okay.
Saulo. Just making sure I'm right. Saulo. So the book is beautifully illustrated. It's a lovely story, very much connected here to St. Kitts. And so that might make a nice gift. The season is upon us. So I'm going to leave this here so that we can gift it to one of the Island Tea listeners, however you decide to do that. I also have somewhere around, a gift certificate for a book of your choice. So again, for any listener, perhaps, who calls in and shares, a favorite book memory or their favorite book or whatever it may be. And I decided, rather than select a book to gift to someone, I'll give a gift certificate so that person can come up and choose the book that best them. So those I will leave with the Island Tea family.
thank
to
you.
No problem. I have a question though before we go off. We know you spent 2 decades in an educational career and administration. When did this idea for this bookstore, when was it conceptualized?
Nascent stages, or probably a good 10 to 15 years, maybe even before that, before leaving my career in. You know, it's funny because you don't even know sometimes the things that you dream about. You don't, you know, and I was very happy working in education and I felt very fulfilled and so on. When I first started thinking about bookshop ideas, again, it came when I was studying at the graduate level literature, and I was thinking, why are these conversations so kind of contained within these academic settings? You know, that's how I felt at the time. I was, you know, a lot younger then, and I had a lot of energy for that type of thing. And then when my children were born, I remember my daughter, my father used to call her Goldilocks sometimes because her hair, my children are mixed race, and her hair is very curly, but it's that kind of honey brown type of color it was. So when I read her Goldilocks and she saw the illustrations, she was really upset. And I said, what happened? And she said, you told me something that was not true. And I said, what? When did I do that? She said, you said that my hair was golden, but it is not golden. That hair is golden. It's like how she was like very angry because she thought, I think in that moment she was like, parents and grandparents could be dishonest. But it also, you know, like it's a bit cliche now when people say representation matters. It's almost becoming cliche, I should say. But
This is so funny.
But it does because...
You know, that was my first book.
Goldilocks?
The first book I recall.
Really?
Yes. I remember they bought it for my birthday. That was the first book. So I had to be 4 or 5.
Yes, I think Rachel was about that age when that happened as well. So then I started like really deliberately seeking out books for them that as a compliment, because I want them to read stories from all over the world, because that's how you explore the world sometimes, you know. And so, but it was important that we had Caribbean stories in the mix, and I found that I had to really look hard to find them, you know. So when somebody was going to Trinidad, or if we went to Jamaica, or if we went to Barbados or somewhere, you know, I was always looking. Or if I was traveling and, you know, you'd have your Caribbean Beat magazine, or, you know, you're reading and finding out what you could find for them. And so I wanted to make it easier and more accessible for children and adults as a complement, because the bestsellers and so on, they're going to be accessible. You can find those, you know, the international. And a lot of our books by Caribbean authors are also New York Times bestsellers, Pulitzer Prizes. We have Nobel laureates. I mean, we have the best of the best. So I just really wanted to do something. And then as I spent, you know, a couple decades in education, I was in administration towards the end of my career, and it's a very sedentary job, and I was sitting a lot, and it was a little stressful, I suppose, for me, which I didn't realize at the time. But my health was not so great, and eventually I thought, okay, and somebody said to me that their belief system suggests that, you know, there are different sides to people, so I might have been feeding too much that kind of leader administrator side and not enough the creative side. And in her system of beliefs, your body tells you when you're not feeding yourself completely. And so I said, well, you know, there's one life to live, and I don't want to live mine with regrets. So I'm going to jump in, see how it goes. And, you know, if at any point it has to meander to something else, I'll do that. But I don't want, at the end of my days, to sit with thoughts of what could have, why didn't I, why, you know, and it's something that, you know, has, I guess, always been there. As I said, you don't know sometimes these things are there until I created the store, and one of my children said to me, Mommy, this space is so you. You've always talked about wanting a bookstore. And I was like, I have? You know, so it just comes to pass as it should, I think.
Okay, so before you go, I want you to give the name of the store, your opening hours, numbers, social media, and also how people can get involved in the book club. But one question, the last question. The book mix, do you have classics as well as the newer, the more contemporary stuff?
Yes.
So you'd have like the Lambing from back in the day, and
I think that's
Lozer and all
important.
those people. And
we have some Naipaul, we have Lovelace, we have Walcott, we have, because the book that made me fall in love with literature that was very powerful to me was Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys.
Yes.
Because I read Jane Eyre, and I really did not like it, first of all, and I think I read it when I was doing my A-levels in England. And it was really problematic to me that this Creole woman, the only time you saw her was when she was like biting people up or burning the place down, or and then I suppose of all the characters in the book or of any book that I studied during that period, I felt that was the closest aligned to me. And I was like, well, like in that sense of this Creole woman who grew up in the Caribbean, and then and it was often in that period that you'd have these Creoles written in this mad way,
Yeah.
And then I read White Sargasso Sea by Jean Rees, Dominican Creole author, if you want to follow those lines of definition of Creole, which you can get into a whole other program on. But and she wrote, this same woman who's called Bertha in Jane Eyre, she's called Antoinette in White Sargasso Sea, and she wrote her a story. And it's not that she tried to make her perfect or anything like that.
Yes.
But she gave her this beautiful story in this beautiful landscape. And I didn't know, at that age, I was somewhere between 16 and 18, and I thought, you can do that? You can take on like the Brontes. You could write a different story to these classics if you don't like it, And I just found, and people would read it, and people would study it, and I just found that was so powerful. Yeah. And it helped me to understand the true value, the essence, and the importance of telling your own story. And telling your own story goes beyond talking it, but it also goes towards publishing it. And if you can, publishing it with reputable publishing companies. But
we did that for literature.
Yeah,
White Sargasso Sea. You did for literature too?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I really just love the. So that's always going to be on the shelves. Bougainvillea Books and Gifts, we have copies of that always.
So you actively, when people come into the store, you actively try to maybe suss out what it is they might like, and then try to point them to.
Yeah, people often, when they come to the shop, people seldom come in, unless they're very specific and they know it. There's one product in particular that people come in to get and leave. And that's as soon as we say that we're restocked with soaps from Winiel, Pure Niceness. Yeah. Almost like we hardly get the message up, and then people are like, yep, we're here for where's the soap? It's almost the way they come in with that excitement. You look at them and you're like, soap? It's over there. Soap boils. It's over there.
It's like, where's the soap? Oh, you sold books too?
Exactly. Oh,
I just want the soap.
Some people do kind of hang out when they come for the soaps, but they know what they've come for. But the books, most people when they come to the shop, we've had people come to spend an hour, 2 hours, and it almost becomes a little impromptu book club, book moment, So people say what they're looking for. And a lot of people are unaware that Caribbean writers are writing across all these genres. And so, Caribbean fantasy, if you're into that kind of thing, is really fantastic. We are reading one for this book club. So the book for this book club is When We Were Birds by Ayanna Lloyd Banwo. And it's pushed some of our readers outside of their comfort zone, but that's something fun that a book club can do. So we are open from Tuesdays to Saturdays. So Tuesday to Friday, we open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Saturdays, we're open from 10 to 4. Our number is 664-2224. And our website is www.bougainvillea.kn. I'm going to spell Bougainvillea once, but you can find it very easily. If you start typing, it should prompt you with the rest of it. But it's Bougainvillea. That's another little plug to literacy. So I know it's a long, hard word, but that's all right to learn long, hard words sometimes. And the Instagram and Facebook handles are Bougainvillea Books and Gifts. So just the name of the shop, and then you'll find us. And my associate in the store, who has now become our friend, because that's how Bougainvillea Books and Gifts is. We build community, we build family. So Laurie Ann Peart Phillip, she is exceptional with social media. She is fantastic in the store, and it's just a pleasure to spend time with her as well. So come up and visit us and enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Very good.
Sarah Owen, she
Thank
is
you.
the principal of Bougainvillea Books and Gifts, and also a member of the book club. What's it called again?
It's called Island Bookie.
Island Bookie at Bougainvillea.
So
can I squeeze in one little thing? What are your future goals for the bookstore?
Well, the big one that I have to really pay attention to now, and thank you for asking that, is because within the plan, sustainability is key. The community part is the easy part because that's what we love. The sustainability part is a little more tricky because we need to achieve that through sales. So the only way that we can maintain our existence is to encourage enough people to purchase from the store so that we can continue. And we want to continue to build community through activities, creative-based activities. So we have an activity that we do with Sassy V Collectibles called Sip and Tote, and people come and they paint bags. It's a very creative, free type of moment, and we want to do a lot more of that in the upcoming year. So I'm actually currently pursuing a certificate in art therapy life coaching so that I can look at ways in which we can really create moments for people, because it's really to relax, to de-stress. And I just actually want to share with you one quote that I found was, and I was really supposed to write who said this before I came, but I didn't get to that part. But anyhow, the premise that freedom of creative expression and ideas fosters an inclusive and innovative society. Arts and culture lift our souls, affirm our identity, create a sense of belonging, and develop an informed and compassionate society. And that's really what we want to contribute to. And in order for us to do that, we have to be viable and we have to maintain ourselves as a business. But we want to continue to have activities that allow people to express themselves, that create some moment of beauty within our society, and that, you know, anybody and everybody feels comfortable, welcome, and really encouraged when they enter our space.
Okay.
Sounds good. That's
Thank you.
Sarah Owens
Thank you.
of Bougainvillea Books and Things.
Yes, thank you so very much for having
Yeah, it was
me
fun.
here. I really appreciate it. So I'll go back to my car and tune back into WinFM and hear what good conversation you all have for the rest of the morning.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
We'll
you.
try our best. Thank you too
Bye.
for coming.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Magnum, my brand. Everybody put your Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, make me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. Give her a sipper, she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah, yeah. Right now a Magnum for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Everything you want, everything you need, got the taste you love, anywhere that you may be. It's the Caribbean flavor. Shirley biscuits make me happy.
Shirley got it all about the flavor. Shirley never let me down. And I lime it at the beach on the town. Shirley biscuits always feel like home.
Everything you want, everything you need, got the taste you love, anywhere that you may be. It's the Caribbean flavor. Shirley biscuits make me happy.
Shirley, the Caribbean's favorite biscuit.
And we are back.
And we got a straggler in the house. He came back to us after many moons. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, Kortensia. Good morning,
Welcome
St.
back.
Kitts and Nevis.
Hey.
Well, thank you.
Oh, boy, he's back.
Yeah, our roving reporter is back in country. He was busy covering the
a number of
He was
things.
Afghanistan, Gaza.
What? He went that far?
Israel, Ukraine.
Spoke to Mr. Trump after he
That
won?
too, yes.
Brazil, Brazil rainforest controversy. Ukraine. He was in Ukraine too.
He went to
yeah.
was he also in Guyana when the president was buffing up all this
Yes.
the persons that
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
show up for
sure.
the contract
I'm sure.
meeting?
Yes, there too. Yes, live from on the scene.
went to get his diplomatic passport
Oh boy. Oh boy.
from Mr. Ali.
Indeed. Collected his $20,000. Was it how much money is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right. Oh,
How much money was it he's supposed to be collecting?
Are you gonna?
100,000.
You have
Oh,
to
it's
be in
100,000.
country to get.
Yes, I went to
Oh,
collect
okay.
my too.
You went to come?
Yeah, I got it in
Yeah.
the black bag though, not the paper bag.
Oh jeez.
Too funny.
Oh, right.
Well, it's good to be back with you guys. Yeah, it was a hectic period. It was really hectic covering all of these events throughout. I think you guys heard a bit of it on the news, from the United Nations General Assembly to the IMF, World Bank's fall meetings, to the U.S. elections. So it was a very, very busy period over that time. Yeah.
So being there for the U.S. elections, how do you think?
Well, put it this way. It was a really, really good experience to be there underground, covering it, hearing from the people, to actually being there during elections, watching the people go into the polling stations to vote. And actually, after, because when I left, a lot of my friends, who apparently, some of them are Democrats, are still pulling their hairs out in terms of exactly how come did she lose, right? And then my Republican friends are like, woo! Germany, are you going to Mar-a-Lago? I said, yes. Once you guys have my spot, I'm coming to take a drink with you. So, and there were actually protests right after the elections. Yes, I was actually on the ground for peaceful ones.
And these are the Democrats protesting, or these are the Republicans?
These are the Democrats protesting. They were protesting the implementation, the proposed implementation of a number of the Project 2025 initiatives, including the abortion, the ban on abortion, the to an extent removing the United States from the Paris Climate Accord, which deals with climate change, and a number of the radical initiatives in the Project 2025. So hearing from one of the, she was the managing director of the women's organization that organized the rally. She was very blunt in her approach to say, hey, we need our fundamental rights to be enshrined. Don't come and touch it. I mean,
just leave it alone. Yeah,
we all have our thinking towards abortion. You support or you don't support, but a radical ban on abortion is something that they believe is way beyond necessary.
Because as I said, I'm not really for it. I'm not really for it. But if it's going to murder 2 lives in one go, then if we could save one,
put it this way. You have to make that decision for yourself, right? I cannot come as a man to say, Kortensia, you shouldn't do this with your body. You shouldn't pierce your body. You shouldn't put in an earring. That's not for me to make that decision. You have to make that decision of your own. I could only put forward medical reasons and arguments why you shouldn't or why you shouldn't, but then the final decision.
Be so radical about it. Yeah,
right. But for me though, when we first got there, abortion was actually the major thing that you were seeing on TV. That was like the one thing that you consistently. I can probably read out all the lines of the ads that we saw from the Democrats, from the Democratic side regarding abortion and their push to win the elections.
I even see now they had some, as I read in some of the headline, the Muslims who voted for Trump upset by his pro-Israel cabinet picks. So they're starting already to be upset. What did they think?
That's exactly it. I actually this morning I was actually cracking up over one of the headlines that I saw. They're very scared that this is what Trump is going to do, and they're hoping. So I think it was CNN or NBC actually went to one of the guys in Michigan who he's Arab.
Yeah,
and his brother was the one that Trump went to one of the restaurants, and they were showing their support. So he's like, I hope now that they put a stop to the Palestinian war. But then based on this election for the ambassador position, the person is saying that there's no Palestine.
Nope.
So
all Israel.
All of this. So being underground, it gave you an insight in terms of the feel of the people. The bottom line issue, if you from my perspective, why people voted the way they voted was not necessarily that the Democrats were bad. Not that the Democratic policies were bad. And I think I probably said this to you guys when we did one of the connections I think I did with Jamsta. The bottom line issue that Americans complained about was the fact that food prices are high. The economy is really, really good.
The economy is good, but food prices high. Listen, everybody complained when Mr. Trump was in, the economy was better, but Mr. Trump inherited an economy from Mr. Obama that was how should I say it? Oh gosh. He had two settings, 2 4-year periods, because the right word's not coming to me right now, where he created that, where he curated everything, where he left it nice and juicy for Mr. Trump to take over, so he could have had
misconception to an
good
extent
economy.
in the U.S. right now. I shouldn't put it that way. It
Two
may
terms.
make
Now it comes.
Americans sound bad. But there's a section of society within the United States that do not necessarily understand the dynamics of how things operate, how the government operates. Depending on which community you go into in the United States, you will hear that Trump gave us monies during the COVID.
But those were monies that were left there.
No. What happened is, during the COVID period, that was when the stimulus was being issued.
Yeah, the $1,000 checks.
Yes. Now, what Trump did, based on reports, Trump put his name on the check, even though it was a government-issued check. So there's this perception that Trump gave us free money.
But I've heard many debates on that. He just put his, as you rightly said,
so Trump gave us free money. So now, fast forward to 2023, 2024, when inflation was really at its peak, right? And it's dropping now to Fed's level. They're not getting that monies the way that it is. So because you're not getting that money and so much money was circulating in the economy, inflation peaked.
Yeah.
Because as simple inflation say, if too many ththings, too much money is in the economy and everybody could buy stuff, simply means I could jack up my price to get.
Exactly.
You know, demand is there as against, as against supply. So that then created this issue. So now Americans believe that food prices are high, and the IMF director did say this in one of the reports that was on, that food, even though global inflation is trending downwards, food prices will stay high for some time before we see it actually starts to bottom out. That is what, for me, trickled down to the thinking. So people believe that, the Democrats were doing this, the Democrats were not doing that enough for us, and so forth. So that was one of the bottom line issues that you heard from people on the streets, no matter which part of the United States you went. That was the bottom line issue that we heard a lot of people complaining about.
Food prices.
Food prices. And this is what I found as being very ironic. Food prices, they were complaining about food prices, but yet they were either very much eating out at the restaurants or...
Food is cheap, though. Prepared food is fairly cheap.
At home.
Well. Thank you. And they were also lining the supermarkets. So how is it that you're telling me food prices are extremely expensive, but you are still at these places? Like one night, just before I got back, we were in DC, me and a colleague from ZIZ, and you saw the lines snaking around the blocks. And I was like, so I asked my friend, what's going on there? He said, that's a popular spot. It's very expensive for my pocket, but it's very popular.
Is it Whole Foods?
No, it's a restaurant.
It's a restaurant. Oh. Yeah, because we're talking about people saying it's expensive, but they're eating out.
Right.
Yeah.
So it then begs the question, what really is happening, what really is going on? It's the perception in the minds of the people. The economy is good, but how can you tell a mother of 2, 3, 4, that the economy is good when the same prices that she's paying now for items but the items that she wants now will be more expensive than they were a year ago or 2 years ago, and she's still making the same amount of money. So it's
how do we do it though?
They can tie themselves in knots talking about it, but we all know what the real reason is. You want to take a call? Call or go right ahead.
Morning, guys.
Hey.
Morning.
Hey.
Food being expensive is not in the perception of the mind of the people. Food very expensive, and I can tell you, for somebody who lives here. When I used to go grocery store, $100 used to give me a cart of grocery. Now I can spend $500 and I'm asking myself, what did I buy?
Yep.
My cart ain't full.
Same here.
When I come home, I wonder, what did I spend $500 on? Once ago, I could have full a barrel for $500. Now to full a barrel, you're going to take almost $2,000 to full a barrel of good food if you want it full of decent stuff. So food being expensive is not in the mind of the people.
No.
Expensive.
No. So what?
White people crowd in the supermarket. Only the people who are getting the food stamp crowd in the supermarket, because getting 500 and 600 and how much hundreds of food stamps. When you go to the grocery store and you see the carts full up to the brim, those are the people who are getting the food stamp. The people like me who have to spend cash, we cart ain't so full. You have a good day.
Thanks, Carla. Okay, so what I meant, right, was when we hear about food being expensive and all of this, what we found by going around and so forth was that when I said perception, you cannot tell a mother of 4 that the economy is good when when she is seeing that food prices are high. No, the perception is that the country is good, but in her mind, that perception is not there, right? And that's what the ordinary the Democrats did not understand from what the people were saying and from what we were gathering. No.
Caller, go right ahead for German.
Yes, good morning.
Hey.
Good morning.
You see, that's the point I think people have been making all along. You cannot feel anybody else's pain. You can't tell somebody who is going through a lot that things aren't as bad as they are. Right? You can bamboozle people or try to with all kinds of macroeconomic numbers and GDP is this and that to GDP ratio is that and the cost of living and inflation is that. But in the final analysis, it is what people are feeling. And no amount of propaganda or PR can change that. I listened, for instance, to the Prime Minister making the case that, well, if you got 8% at the beginning of the year, that is actually better than having a double salary. Well, I say good luck in trying to convince civil servants of that, right? There's some bridges that are just too far, okay? And I think the Sir Arthur Lewis lecture series that they just had, the guest speaker was making the point that sure, our numbers are good, our human development index great.
Okay.
But there are 40% of the population that are really struggling.
Okay,
and
caller.
I think those are the ones that are marginalized and ignored.
Okay,
those are the ones who actually vote and make a difference.
Okay, we have to leave it there because we have to wrap up to make way for Money Matters. German, you got 15 seconds to wrap up. And NK.
Well, what can I say, Jamsa? It's good to be back.
Well, I mean,
on
yeah,
island.
I guess,
be back.
There's always tomorrow. We can come back tomorrow.
Yes.
And then we have to figure out how we're going to do our giveaways.
Yeah.
Because we want people to go up to Bougainvillea Books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make sure it's someone who's actually going to use the book and read the book.
And read the book.
What's that supposed to be?
No, we have to.
What's that supposed to be?
Because people read.
Not true.
Because
we have a gift certificate for you to go get a book and to explore the bookstore, and then we have a free book to give away.
I have 6 to read. I have 6.
Oh, okay.
I'm back on the reading. I'm back in the reading vibe right
So
now.
we're encouraging folks to head up to Bougainvillea. Remember, it's not open today. It's from Tuesday to Saturday, 10
it's
to
from
5.
Tuesday. Okay.
No, Tuesday to Friday, 10 to 5, and then Saturdays, it's 10 to 4. Yeah.
Okay, what if you get out?
Okay, we are gone to the listening and viewing. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Okay, Money Matters is next with Dr. Terrence Martin.
He's